What is up, Nuggets? It's your boy, Killer Pizza, here with a brand new video for you rascals and rapscallions out there. Now, first and foremost, guys, I gotta let you know that I am very, very disappointed in myself because the film we're gonna talk about today was a first-time watch for me, and I can't understand how I've never seen this before. And the movie I'm talking about is 1980's The Fog, directed by John Carpenter. And I say I'm disappointed in myself and all that jazz because it's John Carpenter, arguably the greatest horror director of all time, probably my favorite director. You know, Halloween, The Thing, They Live, Escape from New York, Prince of Darkness. I could go on and on. And though I knew about this movie like my whole life, I somehow have never seen it. And I was not let down at all. This movie fucking rules. And I'll just get into the plot a little bit. Pretty much it's about the small coastal town in California, right on the ocean, and it's their 100-year anniversary since the town has been founded, and they're going to have this celebration. But what the townspeople don't know is there is a dark past to the town where all these like pirates on the front, these are the ghosts, these spooky dudes, they all got in a big shipwreck 100 years ago and died. So 100 years later, on the anniversary of this town, all these ghosts are going to come back from 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. through the fog to seek vengeance. They're going to try to kill all the townspeople. They're going for 5 sacrifices. I'm not sure why the number was 5 off the top of my head, but yeah, something spooky happens after that. Evil's unleashed, or the town is, no more. Something. Use your imagination, or, hey, just watch the movie because it was awesome. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. Like I said, I don't know how I've never seen it before. Maybe because it's more of like a ghost atmosphere and I'm more of like a slasher kind of guy when it comes to my horror movies. But this was everything you could hope for in a movie. I mean, it was written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. And, Tommy Lee Wallace involved. So you have all the same people from Halloween. And this came out only a year after the original Halloween. So there's a lot of similarities in the way these are shot and done, and it has that same charm to it that Halloween does. I think that's like the number one thing I really liked about this movie was it just had this, I don't want to overuse the word, but like the atmosphere, like the filming locations and how it was shot, but also like certain films make you feel a certain way. Like, I don't know, like the movie Halloween, or for a newer one, I'd say like Trick or Treat. Like when you watch those movies, it feels like the holiday of Halloween. And this atmosphere in this film really lent itself to the ghost story because it felt spooky and just, yeah, just the film and locations, the way it was shot. It was shot in Panavision, actually, which is the same way they did Halloween, I believe, which for anyone not familiar, it's just kind of a wider shot, which can be harder to shoot with certain things, but you can also do a lot more with it. And with a film like this, I think it really benefited. And yeah, this was just a lot of fun. Not many kills or anything. I think there was only 4 in the whole movie, and most of them were kind of off screen or kind of light when it comes to gore. But that didn't really matter to me because this just had the best vibe to it. This good ghost story, and it flowed really well between the first, second, and third act. Like, I think that might have a lot to do with there's a lot of characters in this movie, and I was actually listening to You Need a Horror podcast. And Christian Hannah Horror was on there, and he was just joking. He was saying something at one point, why does everybody say I didn't care for the characters? I didn't care for the characters. And I really liked this point. I understood. He says, regarding the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like, sometimes I don't want to know the characters. I just want to see them all get killed and slaughtered and get a good kill count. And I completely understand that, but which works great. I think there's 2 ways of doing it, that way and this way, where I think it does benefit to have good characters, especially in a movie where there isn't a lot of on-screen kills or a lot of action in that sense, where it's more of an atmospheric movie. Because if you don't care for the characters in a movie where there's not a lot of action in terms of kills like that, it can tend to drag or make the acts very slow and boring, which I see a lot in a lot of lower budget horror movies from the 70s or 80s, which yeah, so I think a lot of films without a big budget or a lot of like action, it can really benefit from having interesting characters, because I found myself more interested in just listening to these people talk through this whole movie than the kills itself. So by the time that stuff came around, it really just piqued me even higher in my interest. And another thing I thought was fun about the characters, which every one of them were interesting, was that Deborah Hill and John Carpenter did a good job writing this and shooting it by splitting all these groups of people up. So you keep transitioning from these different groups of people. You got Tom Atkins, which is another reason that blows my mind that I've never seen this, because Tom Atkins fucking rules. You got Tom Atkins, who picks up a hitchhiking Jamie Lee Curtis, and they're kind of going through the motions. Everybody's got their own little story through this. And you have, I can never pronounce her name right. She's from Swamp Thing. Andrea Barboa. She was married to John Carpenter, too, during this movie. But she was great. She plays a radio host that's amazing. And she's kind of up in this lighthouse watching the fog roll in, and ends up becoming a pretty crucial part to this film later. Then you have another group that's her son with the babysitter, and like I said, Tom Atkins and Jamie Lee Curtis before, and then you have this weather guy who's calling Adrian Barboa throughout the movie. He's kind of a minor character. You have the priest who kind of discovers the book that kind of unravels part of the story, and then you have kind of the mayor. I think she was the mayor of the town, and her assistant doing their thing, which that's like 6 different groups of people all kind of dealing with the fog in their own way. And the mayor is actually Jamie Lee Curtis's mother, by the way. I have to mention that. But I thought that was really interesting, the way they split it up with like 6 different groups of people who all at the end up meeting, and they interact with each other through the movie, and all meeting at the same spot for the climax, which I thought was just a brilliant way of pacing this movie together. This was great. Scored by John Carpenter. Anytime a horror movie is done by John Carpenter, it's amazing. I don't understand how he does it. It's like when you listen to Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, you're like, how the hell did they sit down and put that together? You know what I mean? And I think that was some of John Carpenter's movies, the way he can make the sound so relatable to the horror, how you feel the suspense. I'm like, that just takes skill, especially since he writes and directs too. But I digress. I knew this was going to be a long-winded review, though I wasn't trying to. But yeah, this was amazing. A lot of familiar faces in the cast. Great cast. Very fun dialogue. Interesting characters. Paced amazing. One of the few things I would criticize is I am a gore guy. I would have liked more gore, but I understand where they were coming from in a filmmaking aspect. John Carpenter actually touches on it in the commentary, which I can respect. You go back to the more old school movies where you wouldn't see a lot of these kills and gore, and it leaves it to your imagination, and sometimes what you can picture in your head is more crazy than what's in the actual movie. But I'm a sucker for that cheap pop that is the gore. I thought these ghosts look really, really cool, though I wish I could have seen them a little more, but once again, I understand. This is just the artwork, which, look how cool they look. And funny story with this movie, when I first started collecting again, little like 3 years ago, maybe a little over 3, I for some reason couldn't find a copy of The Fog, and maybe just gave this away, but maybe they produce more, which they usually don't. When things go out of print with Scream Factory, they go out of print. So I was pretty excited to find this at a Walmart on a wrestling trip one time. The Howlin' and The Fog double feature was like $5 at Walmart. Like, how cool is that? We don't have much Scream Factory around where I'm at. So I picked it up, and it took a while for me to finally check this out. And when I watched it, I loved this movie, The Fog, so much that I had to go buy the collector's edition, which I could find finally. So now I have 2 copies of it. But that's because the split pack is just bone dry. There's no special features or anything. And this was pretty fun. I like a lot of these physical media releases, especially the boutique labels, because they usually have a lot of good special features. And I think it's worth it just for the commentary tracks alone. This Scream Factory Collector's Edition alone has, let's see what's going on in here. Audio commentary with writer-director John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. Commentary with actors Adrian Barboa, Tom Atkins, and production designer Tommy Lee Wallace. New interview with Jamie Lee Curtis, which I heard is actually pretty good. Tales from the Mist, Inside the Fog featurette. Fear on Film, Inside the Fog featurette. The Fog Storyboards, a film featurette. Hollywood's hallowed grounds, a new look at the film's locations, outtake theatrical trailers, TV spots, and a photo gallery. And then, of course, with Scream Factory releases on the collector's editions, you always have a reversible sleeve. That's the original artwork. And then you can go to the newer one with this really, really dope drawing or whatever, painting. It looks sweet. They do that with a lot of Scream Factory releases. So if anybody is interested in picking this up, I know you can get it for $20 on Amazon. Not too bad. But overall, I don't want to give away too much about the ending. This is one I'm just going to have to let you guys check out on your own. It's worth it. John Carpenter is the master of horror. I absolutely love this movie. Like I said, not to be a broken record, just loved the film they shot it with. Loved the way it was shot, location, cast, dialogue. The ghouls were creepy. This was just fun. It was a fun, atmospheric, kind of like spooky ghost story. It even starts the movie with this old timer telling these kids ghost stories at the campfire and everything. So they set this really nice vibe. This is a fun movie to watch at night. Maybe when the fog's coming in. Ooh, that was the lamest shit I ever did on this channel. But yeah, I love this enough that I will say this is probably in my top 3. Right as I was saying that, I was taking that back. I was going to say my top 3 Carpenter movies, but this is number 4, right behind Halloween, They Live, and The Thing. But a must-have and a must-see for any horror fan, hardcore or casual. I suggest picking it up. And that is my rant. I actually kept it under 15 minutes, so I'm actually proud of myself. And yeah, so let me know what you guys are watching in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, share if you want, all that shit. If not, that's cool too. I just appreciate you checking out the video. And I like getting the word of horror out there. So yeah, check this out, you guys, or else. Other than that, Blood Guts Gore. I'll check you guys next time.